So we are moving on to another mirror matchup, but the opposite one. Vanguard versus Vanguard. Probe versus Skillous. Skillous actually playing some amazing gonna get used to these ones. Versus a laser earlier on, but now up against Probe, the other expected top 2 player, and on a different matchup. So let's go better or worse for Skillous. Let's find out.
As we get into some, are you ready for this acronym? VVV. Yes, Vanguard versus Vanguard. That's just fun. We kick it off. It is going to be Skillous in the red in the upper right as Probe Doggo shows up to get some nibbles. He's from the bottom left in the blue.
I don't know about you, Wardi, but I love the VVV.
The VVV, I love the VVV.
The top red is the red. Vanguard Skillous.
Beautiful.
Nailed it.
Well, Doggo's causing a lot of trouble. These bobs are off the line. Just gonna try and fight back. Yeah, I feel like it's already Skillous losing a little bit more mind time, where Probe is just a little bit more respectful in his response. I guess we're coming across the golden expansion, so that makes sense. Looks like Probe's gonna go do the same, so we get the expansion building squad ready.
Yep, and this is Probe harassment kind of highlighted, furthered, I suppose. Oh no, the dog actually died for Skillous. Ew! Actually, funnily enough, both of these players playing Protoss in StarCraft 2, this would be an important dynamic if they both were fast expanding that matchup. If you were to not deny your opponent's expansion the same amount that you did, they did to you, you'd be in really big trouble. Not quite as impactful here, because I also think there's a little more playroom as to where exactly you build your orbital command. Uh-oh.
Yes, the orbital command.
Thanks, man.
I was gonna let you send out the command post. Is that what you mean?
Yes. Okay, I knew because Pig used an acronym earlier on that I didn't really, and then I forgot what the acronym. So.
You know, it's confusing as well because you have the central command as well. It's just like a CC, and it's like
yeah. Thanks for backing me up, man. You know what? If Tasis and Artosis can 10 years on still be calling spine crawlers sunkens, and then I can do this. It's fine.
It's just I believe in you every step of the way.
Thanks, man. I believe in you too. We're just two people believing in each other.
This is our version of the caster build order, you know.
Throw in some cluck sounds, and we're good, man.
It's like
Everyone's thoroughly entertained.
Like we don't know the name of the building. It's okay. We just cluck around a bit. Cluck. Yeah.
We're gonna need more animals ASAP into the camps, please, Frostgiant.
Can we get a mid-cast patch? We are running out.
Yeah. What about spiders? Huh?
Yeah. What? I mean, I guess spiders just kind of skip around.
It's not very dramatic, is it?
No.
I'm trying to think of like any famous spider too, like Charlotte's Web. Did she say something? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Nope. Okay, we can't think of anything for spiders, guys.
We're just terrible at making noise-based approach.
Yeah. You know, jumping spiders are awfully cute, though. Have you seen the rise of jumping spiders as pets?
Nope. That's just not something like anything I want to listen to.
No, they're so cute. They're so cute. They're so fuzzy.
Right. That still does not convince me.
Okay, well, you should definitely look into it. You'll be convinced.
Okay. I mean, you don't usually lead me down the wrong path, so.
Thank you. We're doing pets. Oh boy, yeah. Frost Giant's gonna have pets, and that'll be where we shine. If there's not a cat, I will revolt.
Ooh, that cat.
Excuse you. Rude.
Thank you for excusing me.
Do you see the Quiet Place movie? Like the one that's like on day one?
No.
Well, that's what they're going to do now is like day one of a Quiet Place, which is kind of cool. But then like the main character is going to be carrying around a cat. And I'm like, how that cat isn't going to die and kill them all is hard to figure out because cats will be the first thing to tip something over. Or meow when they don't get fed, so.
Oh, I know what you mean now, actually.
Yeah, there you go, yeah. It's been a talk of the internet for a little bit, but we actually have some interesting things happening now that they've both expanded. A little hornet harassment. A little annoying.
Hornet also a animal.
Yes? Well, it's an insect.
You know, same vibe.
Is it though?
Sure, why not?
It's not fuzzy. It's not cute.
Makes a buzzing sound.
It does make a buzzing sound. That is true.
More of an animal than a spider. Which is also an insect. Ah.
Oh. Skill's actually going into Hornets, man.
Really weird. Yeah, he really is. I mean, we saw quite a lot of Hornets earlier today in the DVV as well, right?
Well, Probe was definitely doing a lot of Hornets, and I wonder if Skillous kind of either predicted that or thought it was a good idea. Because, you know, Probe actually isn't doing that. Which will open up maybe some vulnerabilities. It's just that Exos don't really... I mean, they're the most reliable anti-air despite having guns. Like, Marines are overpowered because they shoot up and down, but their guns are also pretty powerful. But Exos are like, okay. And obviously they are lacking the mobility, being able to traverse the high ground, low ground situation. So I feel like usually you think, okay, they're going to be forced to do their own Hornet battle. But Probe not being suckered into it.
No, he's just going to be chilling and just playing into that more biocentric force. So a couple of different styles here. Skills definitely getting that ability to be out on the map, pew-pewing away, getting some harassment done, which is obviously very fun to see. So we'll see if you can keep it up at all. Obviously, I feel like eventually, right, you get enough Exos out. And if you do start pushing with those Exos, then maybe those Hornets defensively could get into some trouble, because if they're getting shot down before they can deal damage, and that's why your money's being spent, well, then you don't necessarily have what you need to hold on to a bigger fight.
It's true. It just outlasts and push through. We do have a Lancer doing exactly that, pushing through a little of the dog micro that was trying to body block it, which was cute. Letting the Hornets come back, but if the Hornets are coming back to deal with this and it's taking freaking forever, then what is Probe's actual army doing? Well, it's going up that right side, hitting Skillous's potential third base. There are a couple, one turret ready to go, but I mean one powerful turret, I should say anyway. But like overall, not going to hold on by itself. There's the other one transforming too.
Swaps it over as, yeah, the Hornets, but like we say, they're not going to last long if there's enough Exos. One gets blasted immediately. We're going to be seeing Skillous now with the evac available to try and maybe get some drop play going about as well. They got an Atlas sieging up too, so we'll see how this defense goes for Skillous as Probe getting in, doing a little bit of damage, but maybe now time for Skillous to show us what he's been building towards and what he can do. This map controller Probe is netting him some resource camps though.
Yes, he's definitely getting map control. He's setting up some turrets at his home base to make sure the Horns don't do an endless amount of harassment, and does seem pretty well covered. Skillous, you know, he didn't just use that to open. He didn't go mass Hornets either. Kind of seems like he's playing into a turtle mech versus bio, actually, which can be kind of fun. Atlases, they're interesting. The positioning they can have on this map, as we saw Skillous try and set up, can be good. They can hide behind some of these trees and be in great position, use chokes defensively. Sure. But they also have still pretty dodgeable attacks. You know, less dodgeable than they once were, but okay, well, this also could have been a great idea with this dropship already being taken care of. Fortunately, the bubble is going to save it as it races back home to safeguard those Atlases, but that wasn't the harassment that Skillous was looking for. No,
that was not it. The most exciting part of that was Skillous' retreat, which is not really meant to be the highlight as the aggressor, right? So, a good combination, though, to get out alive. The bubble was absolutely essential, and able to zip back home out of trouble. But yeah, now he doesn't get anything off of that. Probe is able to keep on expanding unharassed, and he's already taken that expansion lead, more map control. So much of this just looks so good for Probe here initially. Kills off a couple clickers, and is going to take some more vision on the right side, which is obviously important because this is where his newer base is, so good to be able to see anything that might be heading over in that direction.
And he is adding on Lancers, so I guess he's not going to try and play some type of actual mech style, which people were certainly experimenting with earlier on, but I think, you know, especially once like mass hedgehogs died down, because that was a meta for a tiny bit anyway. I haven't seen so much of it. But starting up very defensively, that's for sure. Skillous trying to get some pokey pokes, the Hornets, then the evac drop, but then protected back at home through SimCity, turrets, and Atlases. Now moving over into the bio, but on less economy. And just less to start with, obviously, because he prioritized other units. So, I mean, if he lives, then maybe they both get maxed out. That'd be the great equalizer, although it takes quite a while to max out in Stormgate. And then it's fine, but, you know, does Probe give him enough time to do that? I really don't think so. Oh! And that just went down. Evac down.
Evac down, and now Probe, less reason to stick around at home. Defense is not needed over there anymore, so you get the ability to move out onto the map. it's such a big deal when your idea of being able to hold your opponent back gets denied, and this gives Probe the opportunity to just make the move. So up he goes. We're going to see if this Probe army is going to be able to win out, because right now it does not look like the numbers are here at all from Skillous. He's got a couple of turrets a bit further back, but they're not in the fight just yet. Maybe now they start coming through. I mean, Probe could just sit here and just kind of work on that new expansion and just try and stop Skillous from ever getting up to base 4. The med techs are doing what they can as well, healing up this force and keeping everything active. Those couple of Hornets not really having too much of the lances. I mean, chipping through a little bit. That base goes down, and that's a big win for Probe, because that is him still sustaining the economy lead throughout the course of this game.
Yeah, he's absolutely going to keep on that 5 bases to 3. I don't know how many production facilities that can actually support, but quite a few in my experience. I'm always banking way too much, so that's going to be a lot of exos in the front line. Just a couple of lances we can see to add in that meat in the front. And Skillous just has not caught up. He's relying on turrets to try and hold on, which as Probe's army grows, they will last shorter and shorter amounts of time. And Skillous is going to be coming in through his own choke. I mean, the Atlas died in the evac, right? I was just going to question where they are. He never remained. They're not even behind the trying to help defend this base. And yeah, Skillous just going to tap out. This seemed like a bit of an experimental opener for Skillous. And then he realized that it wasn't really working out, or that he really did have to move on. And then, you know, he moved on too late. Or he really thought Probe was going to be more aggressive. And Probe just was like, okay, that's what you're doing. I'm going to do my thing. And it's better.
Yeah, you make a bunch of Hornets and they just kind of sit there. They get a couple of shots off. Like, it was exciting for the first couple of moments, and they didn't really do much else. The next bit of harassment didn't go anywhere, and eventually the guy that just built up a bigger army is able to do a lot more, because he didn't go through all the nonsense of this tech tree and that tech tree to, you know, not really guarantee or gain anything. So that made a big difference, and now we get to go into our next map along, which is going to be in game number 2 here, as Probe takes the 1-0 lead over a Skillous, who is pretty much on the verge of elimination. A loss here would kind of decide everyone who's advancing, by the way, ZG. So Skillous losing here, he would be out, and then we know a Laser Killer, Zerclem, and Probe will advance. But there is a difference in seeding. First, top 2 players do become a better seed for tomorrow's playoffs.
Yeah, that's very true. We have top right Skillous, bottom left Probe. It's very unfortunate, though, because Skillous certainly has not come in here as just someone who, you know, clearly is outmatched. Like, his games have actually been pretty cool. Not the last one. The last one was very much Probe in control. But the other games have been cool. And so I feel like it's not really reflective of his true potential in Stormgate. But, you know, it is what it is. And so he has one more chance here. Down a game versus Probe. To perhaps play his best form of Vanguard. Again, maybe he was kind of experimenting with something that he thought was a good idea. It didn't work out. Maybe he thought Probe was going to be the aggressor. Either way, he just got led by the nose. Probe did everything that was better, faster.
Yep. Oh, I like what Probe did. As you see the quad bob make their way to the low ground to fast build up this expansion. I kind of love this. Look how fast you can get a base online. Wild.
It is pretty wild. I do wonder how much they're going to tune the overcharge, though. To be like, do they want it to increase the building speed, and repair speed, and all that?
It's just, I mean, it's actually wild how quickly that builds.
It has created a dynamic that, again, I mean, one thing that's really awesome about new RTS or new video games in general is that there's just so much experimentation, right? And there's also so much discussion. Now, some people's opinions are just wrong. Let's be real. They're just bad. But in other cases, it's like anything kind of goes. And so one discussion that's popped up is actually, and I think this is kind of one that Therotosis talks about quite a bit, is whether or not expansion as default in RTS is a good play. Or should we try and focus on a design that makes it so you stay on one base longer? As a Brood War fan, you would, think the latter. Other people might think the former, so on and so forth. But it is nonetheless a good discussion.
Yeah. No, you're very true in what you say. It's, should we just be always getting to 2 bases? It's like, if that's the case, why don't we just start on 2 bases, I know there's a lot of people that were very upset when SC2 went to 12 workers, and that basically removed a lot of 1 base and kind of just sped up the progress towards 2 bases a lot of the time. Pretty much everyone goes to 2 bases straight away, apart from certain matchups, so yeah, it's a great debate. I don't know. I kind of feel as though, like, as long as there's some room to do something on 1 base, I don't think there's anything wrong with it being mostly focused around expanding. to me, that's why RTS games really get good, right? The more bases, the more space to control, the more things to do, the more RTS it is, right?
Yeah. Well, I truly believe that 12 worker is better. And that's because people might remember some of the really epic games that started off on 1 base, then led to a slow 2 base, then led to a highly contested 3 base, then led to a really high... They remember these perfect games. But what I remember, especially during the Heart of the Swarm era, was so many boring starts. Oh my god, nothing happened.
Casting PvZ back then, when it's like, well, you either wait 12 minutes for the 3 base blink all in, or you get 4 gates zealoted at 5 minutes. It's like, well, that's PvZ. It's not a fun time.
Yeah. And what I certainly do like is that, I mean, I guess the argument is kind of you could have chosen one or the other, which is either increase the worker start or decrease the minerals, which they actually did both. And one thing that Stormgate absolutely does is force you to be on the map. Definitely something they wanted to do, you know, and not allow so much turtling. And to give incentive to being an active player, so the camps are here, sure. But then I feel like you run out of money fairly quickly. I was playing a game yesterday, which is actually quite fun. Post the public replay if anyone actually cared. But I was definitely winning, and I got into 4 bases faster, and then I just kind of forgot to expand, you know? Or the other guy was really intent on expanding, so of course he eventually won out. And I just don't think that happens in some of the other RTSs, where I would have been comfortable still winning on 4 bases.
I don't know, that definitely happens. I had the same experience where it's like, you're like, cool, I got this one, and then I'm losing, like, man, this is so OP, this mirror matchup. And then my matchup just like, well, you could have expanded like 10 minutes ago. I'm like, shut up! I don't want to admit my macro is bad. But it is very true, like, you know, like, leads disappear if you don't take those opportunities.
So sometimes it does create games where both players, again, kind of like no rush, let's say 3 bases, because the minutes can skew, but no rush 3 bases. And we've seen a couple of those. That is the epic Skillous, a laser game that we saw. Didn't start off with a whole lot of action. We're kind of getting a, you know, bit of a slower start like last game. But Skillous is going to try and take his 3rd in the middle of the map. So this is going to be immediately scouted by Probe. Now he can kind of tailor his strategies around dealing with this, or whoever wants to deal with it. And by dealing with it, I mean maybe going to kill it, or even killing Skillous back in his natural, for instance, and just leaving that alone temporarily. That could also be a thing.
Yep. This middle base is just such a wild concept. And if you can keep it alive, then great, but man, you are basically saying, I'm ready to fight out on the map the entire time. And I just feel as though right now we're still missing a lot of the time the concept of the backstab as we come through here. These Lancers are in some trouble, but there's more Lancers on the other side. I mean, there's still a lot of Exos dealing a lot of damage very quickly. And with just even a couple Lancers tanking, it's going okay for Probe. But, yeah, I mean, I really feel as though if Skillous holds out in this middle base, and Probe just starts backstabbing a little bit, I think that is going to be a problem, a big one.
Thing to worry about for sure. There should be a weakness to taking that middle base, and if it is scouted immediately, then you might have more pathways to concern yourself with. A Probe is going to try and be aggressive, and he is going to overtake the small little squad here that was, I feel like, mostly scouting, actually. And then also take the health camp. I mean, I think we are still seeing... We're going to see so many developments, actually, as they continue to play at a very high level, as far as how fast they are about remembering the camps, remembering the bases, taking the bases, whatever. But yeah, that was a camp that was actually excluded from some of the games. And then I was like, oh, that's a really good thing to take. Sometimes it can even be a fallback position, a health camp on a different map. In this case, it just healed almost everything up to full health, and Probe does kind of get that backstab. Skillous just did not have the vision, as Probe took the vision camp that was most important to Skillous.
Yep, that vision goes such a long way. Just the information and knowing where you can be, and just no opponent not knowing where you can be as well. Works both ways, double whammy. And that is basically the problem that Skillous runs into now, out of position and now being chased down. This group of units on the map is very much so being hunted rather than being the hunters. And again, so many problems that can arise from that as Probe can make his choices. Going to see a couple of these Bobby boys heading into the center of the map. He's not going to run in there himself just yet because he knows there's units out over here. So he's going to take this fight, and boy, those Exos, they're going to pack a punch against those Lancers. You just can't get in range to do anything meaningful right now.
Yeah, and you can focus fire with the Exos too, which just, you have to obliterate them. I mean, I'm not sure that was focus fire. He just had so many. That didn't even matter. Meanwhile, Skillous gonna try and kind of desperately force Probe back with the Sim City, the Bob Overcharge, and the reinforcements deal with the melee-only Lancers fairly effectively, even as they try and get supercharged via their passive there. Doesn't work out. Not nearly enough. So Skillous is forced to try and defend the middle base with the Overcharge. It goes down regardless. The repair is still not good enough against the mass amount of XOs that Probe has, and Skillous will have to tap out.
Yeah, good game from Probe, just again controlling. Clearly, I think Probe is one of the competitors for this tournament. I'm not just saying that like for today, but I mean like looking ahead into tomorrow's playoffs and everything. I think Probe is going to be one of those players who can make a really deep run in this event because you can see it here. He knows what he's doing. He's very concise with his plans and his styles. I mean, he can get it done, ZG. I think that's very apparent at this point. It's very exciting to see that Probe is looking so good here in Stormgate. So